Welcome to Bathrobe Conversations with Black Women. I'm your host, Rona, and this is episode number 2, an extension of the first episode that introduces me, and I'm here with my lovely sons who are entertaining me and joining me on my podcast, because to get to know me is to really get to know them and to hear from them. So this is my son, Naseer, who is 19, turning 20 in August. And this is my second favorite son, Ameer, who just turned 16. And the reason why I asked Naseer and Ameer to join me on my podcast is because the purpose of the podcast is for Black women to create our own narrative, to introduce us as individuals and a collective to the world, but also, I wanted my sons to have the opportunity to speak from their vantage point as it relates to how it's been for them growing up with a single Black woman, me as their mom, but then around a village of Black women, because every woman that you meet on this podcast series, they have grown up with those women as aunts and village members, and I just wanted them to have the opportunity to share with my audience their experience. So welcome to my podcast, guys.
Thank you for having us, Mama. Truly, I'd say it's a pleasure. Just you said earlier, like just having us on, entertaining us, but the robes are very comfortable. So
exactly.
It truly is a pleasure.
A little bit of luxury even extended to my guys who deserve it.
In the crib, just chilling. But yeah, like I think this whole podcast and you having us on here is really a chance just to attest to, how awesome it is to have you as our mom, but also to, I think you also
it's awesome
you didn't,
to have me as your mom.
Well, yeah, that. But I think you also didn't mention that today's your birthday.
Well, I was going to get to that, but of course, as my
oldest son, and my
handler, of course.
Right, exactly.
Really,
exactly.
I knew that either you or Ameer would be speaking to that, and so thank you. It is my 50th birthday today, so.
So I think just to like annually mark all of the time that I've seen you, put into, in small ways and big ways, just everything that you've done into this, finally getting here, and then like all the experience to then finally come back and be able to have, a space to talk about it, people to talk about it to, people you've met along the way that, like you said, aunties that I've met along the way that weren't always aunties. Sometimes at first they were a stranger, that's how everyone is. So I think that this is just really, it's like marking all of your work from 50, till that you've got done at 50, So I think that it's a very symbolic thing.
It is very symbolic. The first 5 episodes that I recorded actually were a year ago to this weekend in Las Vegas. So I was celebrating a birthday with, some very close friends of mine, and they all agreed. They knew that the podcast was coming, but I took advantage of the opportunity to be able to get it done, get it started. 2008, I think, was the first time anybody told me that they felt like I had a message and I had something to offer women. And so look at from 2008 till 2023, that, or maybe 2022 is when I started, that it took me that long to be able to do the work of myself, to build the self-confidence that was required for me to be able to now step out, because I don't take that lightly. Ameer, what's your
I was just going to say
intro?
also that the platform, like the time that's gone by.
Yes.
So that the platform of a podcast will be here perfectly or at the time for you to be ready to perfectly get done. So I don't want to.
No, that's true, because you're right, because the platform did not exist in 2008, and it was actually suggested that I get a free conference call line, and that I invite women to it. No, really, and that I invite women to it, and then I kind of talk with the women and offer some advice, maybe have some questions being thrown at me, and then set up the ability to coach women one-on-one after that.
1-800 call Rona.
1-800-CALL-RONA. I love that.
One of those
Ameer
late night
Sadiq.
television little commercials.
Maybe by this time, if I would have just stepped out there on faith by 2008, you think I would be a 1-800
I mean,
infomercial?
now you'd be an ad, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
You would be one of, you would be a sea of, it would be a sea of ads.
Yeah, you'd be like you'd be 3 seconds in YouTube and then a skip.
Exactly.
Or stay, you know, or might press the link, you know?
To which all y'all talking about, I'm like, what? But I just think that truly it's about timing. And again, in 2008, you were 5 and you were a year old. So I had some other important business to tend to. And then look at us now.
Yeah.
I think the first question that I want to ask both of you, and really is the purpose of having you all on here, is what is it like to be raised by a Black woman?
Well, if I were to answer this in one word, I would say inspiring. Being raised by a Black woman, being raised by somebody who is constantly being put at the bottom of the social caste and constantly has to work her way up, you see the power, you see the struggle, you see the movement every single day. You see how people try to set you back. You see how people try to set someone you love so much and treat her like dirt, but you see her push through all of that. And so it basically teaches you from day one that there is nothing you can't do. There is nobody that can tell you no. There is nobody that can put you in this place where you don't belong and say, or put you in somewhere where you know that that's not who you are. There's nobody that can do that to you because you've already seen somebody who is the most important person in the world to you get treated like that and still come out on top.
Boy, listen, I knew that this would be magical when I had the idea of asking you guys to come on. I mean, just being in love with you all as two individuals.
I just want to let everybody know that was completely off the dome. I just want to let my mom know.
Ameer Sadiq Muhammad, like, listen, you made my whole life. Well, thank you, Ameer, for sharing what your experience is like. Naseer, Saeed, how would you answer that question? What is it like to be raised?
I was listening to Ameer and it made me like, you know, lose train because you know you think you're holding on to yours, and I was like, dang, you're going crazy. I think that growing up with a Black mom teaches you real love. I think like that's what my kind of short phrase way of saying it would be, because when you're growing up and you, especially a single Black mom, like Ameer's saying, you're still going through your life, you know? So you're still going through your life, dealing with your hardships, dealing with, struggles at work, anything, just life, you know? Me being 20, I'm learning that life is just, you know, all of it, the bad, the good, the experiences is all just the road. So I think that you seeing that, you know, and then still putting in the love every day and like getting to really know you, you know, like you could kind of be distant and, you know, I do my job as a mom, but we have a real relationship. And I think that that's something that I see common amongst Black moms and stuff. And I think that that's just what it's really taught me is the feel of, you know, somebody really telling you when, you know, it's easy to say, all right, just do what you're gonna do, you know, whatever, you're 20 now, you know, you could just, you know, do it. But the real talks, the staying up, the I'm tired, Naseer, but mom, let me talk to you right quick, you know, those moments right there, I think that all of those experiences, because the big experiences, you know, like the setbacks that like Ameer was talking about, I feel like those are, they're experiences. So like once you kind of get through them, you're like, yeah, we got through that, and then it's on to the next thing. But I feel like it's those little, it's consistent everyday things, you know, that really mean everything, because those are those little seconds in the day, you know, those are your routine,
right?
You know, like the things that you always remember every time that I wanted to talk to you and you were like, son, I'm gonna remember that later. That's gonna be the sayings, you know, my mom always used to say this, or dang, you know, like my mom says this. I always just think about you in a way of like immediate, like I don't want to say reflection, but like immediate, just kind of like boastfulness. Like my mom is always saying this, and it's been this way since I was a kid. If you taught me a word, you know, or something, I would always hear you say a word, and then I used it, and I probably didn't use it in the right way, but I just kind of heard you use it, and then my teacher said it was wrong, or you told me something, and then my teacher was like, no, that's not right. You know, that's the gospel, you know, so I'm saying, so I think that really just to get back to the point, you know, me and my ADHD,
Oh, you're good.
I'll be going to the...
No, I'm following you, and I'm sure
Exactly.
that my
To the
audience
depths.
is too.
Exactly.
Well, that's where I want you to go, Naseer,
Yeah.
and I think because it's so important that, you know, the narrative that is created for young black men comes from young black men. I think that for me, as your mom, you know, there's the saying that, you know, a woman can't teach a boy to be a man. And I always used to tell you all, I never intend to try to teach you guys to be a man. I've never been a man. I don't know what it's like to be one, but what I can teach you all is how to treat a lady, how to grow up and be responsible young men, how to look at women, don't objectify them, based off of how you treat me. And people used to say, oh, you know, referring to you, oh, that's the man of the house. And I know you used to hate, oh no, my mom, she would say the man of her house pay her bills. But that was important for me to not allow the outside world to instill those false narratives of what it is to be a man means just because you have, you know, the genitalia, right? I wanted you and Ameer to understand that to be a man, it means to be responsible for first yourself. But I also wanted you guys to have the opportunity to be able to be young men, to be young, to be kids, to be able to grow up, because, you know, you guys were exposed to trauma. You were exposed to dysfunction, you know, at my hands and, you know, at your dad's hands, unfortunately. And so I wanted to have the opportunity to slow our pace down and create the environment that we could unpack that trauma, because I said most adults' drama is directly connected to their childhood trauma. And since you all are still children, let's unpack that. And we've had the opportunity to do that in a peaceful, nice setting. It has not been perfect. You know, we had COVID. We had a lot of experiences and things happen to us, but I just wanted you guys to have the space and the time to grow into being young men, so that you all truly understood what that meant. And then I was responsible for the women and the people that I put in front of you guys, the tangible examples. That's the other thing. I didn't want you guys to look to a Jay-Z or a Beyonce or anybody in the entertainment industry and say, oh, that's my hero, or that's who I want to be like. I tried to be very intentional about people that I brought into your lives, both men and women, who I felt like in their day-to-day lives, like what you talked about, Naseer, it's the day-to-day consistencies that then could tell you guys and be the example for you guys, the tangible examples.
Yeah, I can honestly say that even when I was a kid, that like when everybody's around and they're like, I want to be, you know, this is my hero, or even not even necessarily when kids we're just, you know, they're just saying it out. Like if somebody asks you, I feel like I legitimately always will probably say my mom, even when I was younger, just because number one, we were closer. I would be going to work with you and stuff. I knew we were close at a younger age, so I knew things like, you know, about you not having your dad and stuff. So there was just a lot to already kind of see you overcome and see, and just when you're a kid and you're like, you didn't have your dad, you know, and you're thinking about you grow, like you're like, I don't know what I would do, and you see your mom be this person 24/7, you know, like this awesome person in public when you're out, constantly getting complimented, and at work, you know, in every setting, you know, it's already inspiring, like Ameer said. So I think inspiring was a great word for Ameer to just cast over the conversation.
Yeah. Because it really does detail every experience I've ever had with my mom. Everybody who's anybody in my family will compare me to you. Everybody.
Mainly because we look